Gotcha. So today we're going to break down Warden. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, from feats to abilities to a little bit of customization. So starting off, we have the Warden's basic light attacks. You can chain these together, and you can also chain heavy attacks. And as you may notice, that second heavy attack is an unblockable. You can't block this attack, you have to parry it or dodge it. You can also chain lights and heavies and finish off with a heavy attack, but something else you want to do with the heavy attack is use it as bait. As you may notice, I mentioned before, you have to block or dodge this attack. That means that your opponent has to do one of those two things, which can set you up to get another attack in. So I'm gonna throw a light attack, heavy, cancel, and maybe I throw another light attack up top. Maybe I throw a zone after I cancel that unblockable, or maybe I go from the left. If you see your opponent guarding to your right, you might want to go to just the opposite side to throw them off. This is a good way to open your opponent up to get some damage in. Next, we're going to talk about Warden's zone. It's a basic zone that always comes from the right side. It's pretty quick, but it can get parried. You can also follow it up with an unblockable attack. Very nice to set up a mix-up, so you can throw unblockable, maybe throw something else in. If you think your opponent won't expect it, you can go through with unblockable. Also, if you use this unblockable during a 4v4, you can switch at the last second and switch over to another person if you wanted to. It's a good thing to know while playing Warden during 4v4s because he's not the best 4v4 character. Next, we have the shoulder bash. You press AX forward and shoulder bash, and you can follow this up with 2 light attacks. You have to press the light attack button twice, or else he won't get the double light in. You're guaranteed 2 lights, so you want to make sure you get both of them in right after. And even after you get the 2 light attacks in, you can go into another shoulder bash and do it as long as you got stamina. Another version of this is the ability to be able to hold the shoulder bash and hit them, and you can get a guaranteed overhead heavy, which is going to give you the maximum amount of damage. And just like normal heavies, you can follow this up with an unblockable heavy attack, which will allow you to confuse your opponent more if you want to bait it. Warden is built around his shoulder charge. Some people say it's kind of toxic to use the shoulder bash a lot. It's okay. This is what the character does. One ability that the character does that's really interesting, the ability to hold this shoulder bash for a long time. So I'm gonna hold it, cancel it. That was a pretty long time. Let's see if we can go further. As you can see, during this period of time, your opponent's gonna want to dodge, because if he doesn't dodge, this is going to track him just slightly and hit him, and I'll get that free heavy in. So what you want to do is, if you're up close, hold it, go into the guard break and get your free heavy in that way, because if you hold it for a long time, they definitely will dodge if they haven't caught on to it yet. Another thing I like to do with this is, if my opponent's far away, I like to do the same thing, hold it, and then go into the Valiant breakthrough right after. Sometimes this throws people off because they can't dodge right after they just dodged. So I hold it, they've dodged by now, Valiant breakthrough, and I cover the ground. So let's say I was a little further away. Why are you moving? So as you can see, I'm a pretty good distance. I do this, make them dodge, and while they're dodging, go into the Valiant breakthrough. They don't have time to dodge or block during that period of time. This is a great way to cover ground and open up with Warden. But I want to be honest with you, if you do this just right off the jump, you may get parried, so watch out for that. This is a very predictable attack. That's why you have to do it when your opponent least expects it. And another ability that Warden has is the crushing counter. One of my favorite abilities. So we're gonna wait for this Warden to throw it overhead, because you only can do it overhead. Crushing counter. This gives you a little bit of damage while countering him. So we're gonna wait for him to overhead again, and I'm gonna show you that you can actually do this and follow up with another heavy. This is a really good thing to know, because you can get more damage in even after you've done the crushing counter. This is how I do a lot of damage to my opponents, and by the time I'm done with my combo, they're really low, so this really helps me out. Cancel, zone, you can even go back into an unblockable and just run it up again. It's really nice to know with Warden. So I'm going to show you some of the most essential feats for me while playing Warden. So body count is a good feat that allows you to, stay on point B a long time. Warden is not a character that you want to go to B a lot with. If you have to, go to B. But honestly, when you have to, this is a great feat to have. We also have Conquer, allows you to capture points quicker, and we have Come At Me. You gain more renown, heal on kills, but you take more damage from attacks. If you're feeling confident in yourself, you can throw this on and get the rest of your feats fairly quick. We also have Thrilling Comeback. You recover a small amount of health from Revenge. This is really good if you have a team that likes to gank and you need that small amount of health to stay alive, sometimes you can make it through with this feat. The way it looks, it's a flash grenade that you can use to blind people. It takes away their stamina. Pretty good to use. I don't use it as much because it takes time to actually get thrown and you have to aim it just right. I just much rather have Thrilling Comeback or Inspire. As you can see, it says allies and yourself deal more damage, soldiers fight faster. This is another good ability to have. If you have teammates that are sticking with you, you will make them do slightly more damage, which is always nice. As you can see, we have Takedown also. Throws make enemies fall to the ground. This is okay. You know, you can only do so much damage while your opponent is on the ground, especially during the 4v4 game mode. And we have Pung No Mortis, similar to the flash grenade, but it's explosive. Doesn't do as much damage as the catapult, but it does a decent amount of damage. If they're around a quarter to half health, it may just kill them, depending on who it is. We also have Second Wind. Warden's not a Dominion character. This is a duelist character, so this is a very important feat to have for Warden because it's hard for him to hold his own in 4v4 game modes, and he's gonna need this extra health, especially when taking on ganks. We have the catapult, does massive damage over an area, like the Pung No Mortis, but a lot worse. It takes a little longer to touch down, but it's gonna be an insta kill if somebody's in the blast radius. Next, we have Stalwart Banner. Nearby allies continuously regain health. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, at least I don't see a lot of people doing this, but you can actually use this on Breach and use it on the commander. If you're defending and you have 3 or 4 people with this, you can actually heal the commander a good bit with this feat. If you're on defense, throw this on always on Breach. But if you're on attack, throw on this feat, which is the morale booster. It improves damage for you and your allies for a short duration. The main way I like using this feat, especially if I have it right before the final gate is broken and I can run straight to commander as soon as the gate's broken, I'll throw this on. This will give my whole team a damage boost and we can do a lot of damage to that commander. And overall, this is just a good feat to have if you want to give your teammates a boost.